Before we start, hit that subscribe button, because the story you're about to hear will make you lock your doors twice tonight. It was a chilly Friday night in late October. Daniel and Rebecca Cole, a well-liked couple from Hartford, Connecticut, left their neatly kept suburban home for what should have been an ordinary dinner. Their reservations were for 7:30 p.m. at Blue Harbor Grill, a quiet waterfront restaurant they'd visited countless times before. Neighbors remembered seeing them leave, Daniel in his navy blazer, Rebecca in a pale blue dress, smiling as she stepped into the passenger seat of their silver sedan. They waved, headlights cut through the evening fog, and then they vanished. The next morning, Rebecca's sister called the police. The couple hadn't answered texts, and their phones were off. By afternoon, officers located their car parked neatly by a remote overlook near the Connecticut River. The engine was cold. 2 empty wine glasses sat in the cup holders. A folded dinner receipt lay on the dashboard. Time-stamped 8:12 p.m., the last record of their night. Detectives combed through the car. No sign of struggle, no fingerprints except their own. But when they opened the trunk, they found something strange, a faint smear of salt water and an unfamiliar scent, like engine oil mixed with cologne. The river below was searched by divers, but no trace of the couple appeared. The restaurant staff recalled nothing unusual. The Coles had dined quietly, paid in cash, and left smiling. Surveillance cameras confirmed it. Rebecca walking ahead toward the parking lot, Daniel close behind. But one camera across the street caught something the others missed. As Rebecca reached the car, a man stepped from the shadows, tall, hooded, following close behind. Detectives zoomed in on the footage. The figure's face was obscured, but his jacket bore a faint emblem, a construction company logo that had gone bankrupt 2 years earlier. The image froze on screen, grainy but distinct. Something about it sent a chill through the lead investigator, Detective Marianne Marin. She dug deeper into Daniel's background and discovered financial irregularities, unreported withdrawals, a missing business partner named Lucas Gray, and a company that had quietly folded 6 months earlier. Daniel had told friends it was due to market trouble, but bank records hinted at fraud. Lucas Gray had sued, then vanished. Rebecca's family insisted she knew nothing about it. She was a schoolteacher, kind-hearted, the kind of woman who left homemade cookies for neighbors. But then the detectives found her second phone, hidden in her desk drawer home, wiped clean except for one unsent text draft. If anything happens tonight, tell them to check the lake house. That message stopped Detective Marin cold. There was no lake house on record, no property under their names. But an old map found in Daniel's glove compartment had a single mark, a hand-drawn circle near the river, 20 miles south. That evening, under dim twilight, officers followed the trail to an isolated patch of forest. The lake shimmered under the fading sky. Tire marks ended at the water's edge. And there, buried in the mud beside the dock, was a torn piece of Rebecca's blue dress. Detective Marin's heart sank as she stared at the calm water. The couple who'd gone to dinner for love, for peace, for normalcy, had driven straight into something far darker. But the real shock came minutes later, when a diver surfaced with a rusted metal box in his hands. Inside was a phone, still intact, its last recorded video time-stamped just hours before the disappearance. "Play it," Marin whispered. The video began with Rebecca's trembling voice. "If you're watching this, he knows." And then the screen went black. The video recovered from the lake was short, only 23 seconds, but it changed everything. The footage, though grainy, showed Rebecca's frightened face in a dimly lit room. Behind her, through a narrow window, waves reflected flickering blue light. She whispered, "Daniel isn't who you think he is. He lied to everyone." Then footsteps approached, and the clip ended abruptly. Detective Marin ordered a full digital analysis. The metadata placed a recording at 9:42 p.m., just 90 minutes after the couple paid for dinner. That meant Rebecca had been alive long after they supposedly left the restaurant together. But where was she recording from? The faint hum in the background wasn't just water. It matched the sound of an old generator, commonly used in river cabins. Police drones scanned the area marked on Daniel's glove compartment map. Deep in the trees, they found it. A hidden property, old and weathered, Its mailbox rusted beyond recognition. When investigators broke in, the cabin told a silent story. 2 plates on the table, a half-empty bottle of red wine, and in the sink, a shattered glass with fingerprints belonging to both Daniel and Rebecca. But upstairs, under a loose floorboard, lay the true discovery, a folder of financial documents and fake IDs. They were all in Daniel's name, or versions of it. David Cole, Daniel Carter, Daniel Gray. The last one sent shivers through Marin. Gray, the same surname as his missing business partner. The walls began closing in on the narrative. What if Daniel hadn't just stolen money? What if Lucas Gray's disappearance wasn't a coincidence at all? Marin tracked old bank statements, large cash transfers between Daniel's accounts and one offshore entity in the Cayman Islands. One transfer had Rebecca's name attached. The pieces didn't add up. Why would a woman so careful, so soft-spoken, be tied to fraudulent accounts? The answer arrived the next morning when forensic teams decrypted Rebecca's second phone. Hidden within an encrypted folder was a string of voice memos. In the last one, recorded 3 days before the couple vanished, Rebecca's tone was unsteady. He said Lucas came back. He said we have to fix it before it's too late. Marin leaned back in her chair. If Lucas was alive, why hadn't he come forward? And what did Daniel mean by fix it? A new lead emerged from the restaurant security logs. At 8:09 p.m., just before the Coles paid their bill, a third transaction appeared on the system, under the name L. Gray. He'd been there that night, sitting only 2 tables away. Detectives pulled the footage again, this time focusing on the man in the gray hoodie. When the software enhanced the frame, there was no doubt. The face matched Lucas Gray's driver's license photo. So Lucas wasn't dead. He had been there, watching them. But why follow them after dinner? And what really happened at the lake? The deeper Marin looked, the stranger it got. A local hardware store reported a late-night purchase. Rope, duct tape, and bleach. Paid for in cash by someone driving a silver sedan. Witnesses swore the man looked like Daniel. That same night, Lucas Gray's phone pinged once from a tower 5 miles away from the cabin, and then went silent forever. Back at headquarters, Marin pinned photos of the 3. Daniel, Rebecca, Lucas. 3 people bound by greed, betrayal, and secrets. But one thing stood out. On the back of one of Daniel's fake IDs, there was a handwritten note. Meet at the lake house. Don't bring anyone. The trap wasn't for Rebecca. It wasn't even for Lucas. It was for whoever Daniel thought was coming for him. And when Marin saw the last timestamp of the car's GPS, 10:17 p.m. heading south, she realized something horrifying. The car didn't stop at the lake. It stopped 2 miles before it, at an abandoned quarry. The search team prepared to move. What they'd find there would rewrite everything. The search at the old quarry began before sunrise. The air was cold, damp, and heavy with silence. The kind of silence that follows something unforgivable. Detective Marin stood at the edge, her flashlight cutting through fog as divers entered the water below. Within minutes, one of them surfaced, waving frantically. They'd found a submerged car, a silver sedan. It was Daniel and Rebecca's. The vehicle was pulled out slowly, mud dripping from every side like blood from an open wound. Inside, the windows were shattered. Rebecca's seat was empty. In the trunk lay a duffel bag filled with cash, nearly $180,000. On the passenger side, Daniel's body was slumped forward, his head pressed against the steering wheel, a gun in his hand. 1 shot to the temple. A suicide, or something made to look like one. But there was no bullet casing in the car. And the entry wound was on the wrong side. Someone had staged it. As the forensics team processed the scene, Marin's eyes caught something glimmering near the driver's seat, a small memory card, taped under the dashboard. When she plugged it in at the station, the footage began immediately. It was shot from the dashboard camera, time-stamped 10:23 p.m., 6 minutes after the car left the restaurant. Rebecca was in the passenger seat, trembling. Daniel's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. "You shouldn't have brought him," Daniel hissed. "He said he just wanted to talk," Rebecca replied, voice breaking. "You said Lucas was gone." Suddenly, headlights appeared behind them. The recording jolted. The car swerved. Rebecca screamed. Daniel slammed the brakes and jumped out. The camera caught only pieces. A figure approaching the car, a struggle, the sound of a gunshot, then static. The rest of the memory card was blank. But a single still frame remained at the end. A blurred image of a man's face, illuminated by the brake lights. It was Lucas Gray. Police now had proof. Lucas had been alive and had confronted them that night. But where was he now? 3 days later, a local hiker discovered something chilling. Deep inside the woods, just off the old quarry road, they found a shallow grave. Inside was Rebecca Cole. Her wrists were bound, her body positioned neatly, almost respectfully, as if someone couldn't bear to see her suffer even after death. The pathologist confirmed what Marin feared. She had been strangled, and under her fingernails was DNA belonging to both Daniel and Lucas. It was no longer a love triangle. It was a war built on betrayal. As the team dug deeper into financial records, the truth emerged. The money Daniel and Rebecca had planned to invest was actually stolen from Lucas's own company before his disappearance. When Lucas found out, he faked his death, went underground, and spent 2 years plotting revenge. He wanted his money and his life back. That dinner wasn't a coincidence. Lucas had reached out to Rebecca days before, claiming he wanted to forgive and start over. But Daniel found out. They all showed up that night, each planning to trap the other. Nobody made it home. Authorities never located Lucas Gray. His DNA at the scene linked him to both murders, but he vanished completely. No bank activity, no phone records, no sightings. 2 months later, a fisherman 60 miles south found something caught in his net, a silver cufflink engraved with the initials LG. It was the same kind Lucas always wore. But when detectives tested it, there was no trace of blood or DNA, only a thin layer of salt, as if it had been deliberately washed and left for someone to find. Detective Marin stood by the evidence locker, staring at the cufflink under glass. 3 people went to dinner that night, Daniel, Rebecca, and Lucas. But only one of them had planned to survive. And he did. Or maybe, Marin thought as she closed the file, he never really left at all. Because every year, on the anniversary of their disappearance, someone leaves a single red rose at the restaurant's door. No cameras ever catch them.